All right, man, Torture Talk. Like, share, subscribe to the page. Hit the thumbs up button if you like the content. I'm going to get my spiel right now. Hey, man, this is Torture Talk. You know what it is. If you want to like, subscribe, yeah. That's why I can't be doing it. Doing it. Well, that's why I can't be doing the join right away. It tells me you have to talk about. Your brain tells you have to talk about the subject first, nigga. So today I'm be talking about Kendrick made Drake quit rap. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we're going to get into that. You know I got to get my spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. All the beautiful ladies that are single, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones at. Just keep it friendly, keep it, nice. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content, and that is free. But if you want to leave a donation, links will be on the screen. They call me the hidden gem. I went from 1,300 subscribers to almost 8,000. I'm trying to reach 10,000 before the end of next week. All that good stuff. So just hit the like button. Listen, we're going to get right into it, man. I'm all over the place. This is a 6 o'clock show. So let's get it, man. Let's get it. Come on, man. All right, so let's go, man.
With hip-hop being by far the most lyrically driven music genre in human history, it stands to reason that the classic album competition has had a constant correlation with rappers pushing to be recognized as the best to ever do it. A Tribe Called Quest entered the scene with their first 3 albums being considered classics. Both of Biggie's albums have that classic stamp as well. And of course, Kanye West can claim the same for his debut, The College Dropout, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But when it comes to Drake, the same can't be said, and it might have something to do with Kendrick. Drake is a lot of things to a lot of people. To some fans, he's their undisputed GOAT, who has well and truly earned...
That's facts. That's facts. So far, this is facts. This is facts. I wouldn't say all 3 of Tribe Called Quest albums were classic. You know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't say that. But that's my opinion. So let's go.
Spotify's most streamed artist of the decade. For others, he's either just an MC who's got a few catchy tracks, or someone simply following every trend to keep himself at the top of the mountain. But for Kendrick Lamar, it's a different story, because to him, Drake embodies everything Kendrick despises in modern hip-hop. And long before they were caught up in the great hip-hop war of 2024, they were already going at each other's throats in subtle forms, and it all really stemmed from Kendrick. K-Dot and Drake's relationship formally began in 2011, when he was on tour alongside him. Forming part of an all-star bill which also featured A$AP Rocky, they headed out on tour, and initially, it all seemed like they were content to play happy families. And when asked about Drizzy in interviews, Dot had nothing but praise for him.
I sat down with Drake in Toronto a while back when I did my first show out there. He called me up, man, we had a few drinks. He was appreciative of my music. I've always been a fan of his music. Hit me up one day and said, you know what, handpicked, man, I want you to be on this tour. Shout out to Drizzy.
Whether or not this was ever truly the case,
yeah, that was one of those moments. I think a lot of Drake fans are relishing in right now and trying to say that he put Kendrick on. Well, Kendrick been doing this before that. Hopefully he gets into it in this breakdown, but he definitely was doing it. Maybe Drake put him on a bigger platform. It doesn't mean that Drake put him on. So let's go.
his apparent admiration for Drake's music obviously wasn't his only reason for hopping on board, as clearly that exposure was priceless. And even in early discussions about touring with Drake, he seemed to stress that it was a golden opportunity.
I can't back down from that to expand my music to a crowd that haven't heard it before. I know it's 15,000 people out there. I'm used to 2,000. It was fun, man. We had a great bond.
There you go, see? So he was doing something. He just helped him expand his joint. Doesn't mean that he did him 100%. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's go.
From there, they would collaborate several times, with their last link up on a track coming in the shape of Poetic Justice from Kendrick Lamar's landmark album, Good Kid, Mad City. Notably, this was the most radio-friendly song on the record, with Drake being drafted in just as he was entering the peak of his commercial powers, in essence making K-Dot an early guinea pig for the so-called Drake stimulus package that many other artists would later benefit from. But soon, the tone of their every interaction was about to change, and it all began when Kendrick appeared on The Breakfast Club and seemed to co-sign one of the infamous rants about Drake that had emerged thus far.
What about Drake? You like Drake?
No.
Why don't you like Drake?
I don't like anything about Drake.
What about Drake? You like Drake?
No. Why don't you like Drake?
I don't like anything about Drake. I don't like his voice. He talks about. I don't like his face. I don't like the way he walks. Like nothing. I don't like his haircut. I might just let me shut up.
Well, while promoting his debut album, Kendrick made his own appearance on The Breakfast Club and referenced how much he thought that infamous clip was hilarious while he was on tour. And in a now deleted section from the interview, he didn't exactly hold back. I'm wondering why these in the front of the bus just cracking up, hitting walls and he said, swinging his arms. I'm like, dog, what the you talking about? They mute, they stop laughing, right? I just hear X going off on the laptop, just spazzing. Although there was no public response from either person, what it did was mark a point where they never make music again. So tracks like The Problems, which Drake and 40 personally produced and gifted to Kendrick, who recorded a verse for it, passed it back to Drake, who eventually gave it to A$AP Rocky, allowing him to keep all the previously recorded verses, including K-Dot. And from this point on, the pair would enter into an era of subliminals and online jabs. Now, it's worth noting that Problems and Good Kid, Mad City both dropped within the same month in 2012. So, in an alternative universe, it isn't crazy to think that the track might have ended up on Good Kid, Mad City. Nonetheless, with publications like the Washington Post going on to label Good Kid, Mad City an instant masterpiece, Drake suddenly felt the drive to achieve something that eluded him in his career, creating a classic.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that article. It definitely was an instant masterpiece. Let's go.
Album. As a mixed-race kid from Canada who grew up in the suburbs, Drake had always been fighting for acceptance in hip-hop, and one surefire way to do it would be to produce an undeniable body of work. Thus, he began to work on Nothing Was the Same, the album that was meant to prove that he was every bit as capable of creating a classic record as Kendrick was. The music I'm making is more concise, more clear. I've been able to get my thoughts across a lot better on this album, he said of the project prior to its release. Take Care is a great album, but I listened to it and I realized where I could have done better, and I think I've done better on this album. But as he was preparing to unleash what he thought was the most comprehensive document of his skills, Kendrick was about to seize the agenda in hip-hop all over again with his infamous Control verse, where he called out everyone from Cole and Big Sean to Drake and Tyler. In essence, while Drake was prepping the world to pay heed to his skills and position himself as the undisputed king, Kendrick came and snatched the crown and the news cycle in one fell swoop. And to say that Drake was salty afterwards would be an understatement.
It just wasn't real to me. I saw him after that, and it was just like love. So it's like, was that real or was that just like for the people? Those were harsh words. You can't just say that and then see me and be like, yeah, man, what's up? Pretending like nothing ever happened. Like, to me, that's not like the nature of battling. I mean, there's passion behind it. There's anger behind it. I personally enjoy making like great music and bodies of work over like being the talk of Twitter for like 5 days.
A subject that was...
Yeah, that really hurt his feelings. That's how you know that he's not built for this. You know what I'm saying? He's built for the fame and fortune and all that, but he ain't built for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? That's why he don't really do hip hop full time, because he's not built for it. Like if you think about it, Kendrick sparked a conversation, and the only one that got mad out of that, well, two, but the real person who really got mad was Drake. He the only one that took it to the heart. You know what I'm saying? And he just basically called him out. He's saying that's harsh words. How is it harsh words? He's saying, I got love for y'all, but I'm trying to murder you niggas. I want to make sure you're a core fan. Then he says after that, what is competition? I'm trying to raise the bar high. He put it right there. So again, people listen to parts of the song that they want to listen to. Let's go.
Brought up throughout the press cycle for Nothing Was the Same, Drake was embittered, and soon the subs would be flying. As the album that he'd hyped up so much emerged, fans noted that the language from Nothing Was the Same seemed to be taking aim at not only the adulation that Kendrick receives, but would suggest that Control was a cheap ploy for attention. I don't know why they've been lying, but your is not that inspiring, he rapped. Later in that same verse, he spews, any rapper that's talking that just to get a reaction. And later, I'm the kid with the motor mouth. I'm the one you should worry about. But Kendrick was anything but concerned. If anything, this was the reaction that he wanted to get, because soon he'd respond on his own accord with his feature on J-Rock's Pay For It, spitting, this ain't no warning shot, this is a relevant henchman. See my opponent, then cease your existence. Then there was Kendrick's decision to take aim at Drake during the 2013 BET Cypher.
Yeah, and nothing been the same since they dropped Control and tucked the sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes.
Much like
that don't get enough credit, man. Kendrick's been firing on Drake and smacking him since the beginning. It's crazy.
Drake, Kendrick's press run soon became dominated by questions about their supposed animosity. And after Drizzy had his say-so, K-Dot was finally ready to lay his own feelings bare too. In comments that starkly contrasted with what he had said just years prior, Kendrick finally acknowledged that they are not the same kind of creature during an interview with Who Kid. First, he discussed what he felt was wrong with hip-hop, suggesting that there weren't enough rappers pushing themselves into the mainstream.
It's just really about challenging yourself, man, and not being able to take things for granted, whether it's a hook, whether it's a verse, whether it's 4 bars, bars, 8 bars, a chorus. You gotta give it your shot. This is a 1 in a million thing to be in the industry and to be doing it on this level.
But from there, he got much more specific, talking explicitly about why he wants nothing to do with Drizzy anymore.
Would Drake be somebody you would like to have some fun with?
Nah, we come from 2 different worlds, 2 different backgrounds. I really don't see that playing out as entertaining, maybe to the people listening, but not for myself. The state of hip-hop is wild. It's in a place where creativity is at a stagnant point. And there's a lot of records that I do enjoy, but at the same time, it get to a space where it look like we just stuck now. They ain't giving us our respect because they feel that, we ain't out here representing the foundation of saying what you want to say rather than just listening to what the next man is saying or what's hot on the radio. Hip-hop was built on originality.
Here, Kendrick effectively distanced himself from Drake, just like he's done persistently during their current beefs.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I've never seen that interview. Never seen it. Shout out to this channel, man. I'm definitely gonna put the link in the description so y'all can go check him out. Make sure y'all go subscribe. You know what I'm saying? I want to say this. I don't care how big a channel is. I don't care how small the channel is. If I like your video, I'm going to review it. I'm going to react to it. I'm always going to shout you out. I don't care if you're a big channel or care if you're a small channel. It doesn't matter to me. You deserve the credit. You're going to get it. So let's go.
Suggesting that he, a mixed-race kid from Toronto, wasn't truly a part of hip-hop like he was and never would be. In essence, creating a differentiation in terms of how they should be viewed and the level of respect they should command. And soon, this would spread far beyond Kendrick and lead to Drake giving up on a classic album entirely. It all started with the 2014 Grammys. That night, both Good Kid, Mad City and what Drake believed was his magnum opus in Nothing Was the Same were set to square off for the award of Best Rap Album. But things were going to go left when neither of these records picked up the win, and the commercially dominant Macklemore and Ryan Lewis project, The Heist, took the award home. In the aftermath, the public...
Yeah, that was bullshit. And even Macklemore knew that was bullshit. He even came out and said he can't believe he won. He even said that Good Kid, Mad City was better. And I know people saying, oh, he had to say... He didn't have to say that. He didn't have to say that. But he definitely did say it.
Were outraged, but not on Drake's behalf. Instead, they were horrified that K-Dot and K-Dot alone had been overlooked. Apparently, none more so than Macklemore, who hopped on Hot 97 to apologize for something that was ultimately beyond his control.
First and foremost, Kendrick is a friend of mine. I love his music, and in my opinion, had the best rap album of the year. That's what happened. It kind of sucks. I think we made a great album. I think that Kendrick made a better rap album. Knowing how the Grammys usually go, I knew that there would be a great chance that we would win that award and, in essence, rob Kendrick.
But once again, Drake was about to get in his feelings and show how much he despised being overlooked in favor of Kendrick. That was whack as he told Rolling Stone. I was like, you won. Why are you posting your text message? Just chill. Take your W. And if you feel you didn't deserve it, go get better. Make better music. You think those guys would pay homage to you if they won? This is how the world works. He made a brand of music that appealed to more people than me, Hove, Kanye, and Kendrick. Whether people want to say it's racial or whether it's just the fact that he tapped into something we can't tap into. That's just how the cards fall. Own your To name just Kendrick, that made me feel funny. No, in that case, you...
This nigga's a hater. Yo, he didn't even have to. You said the same thing about Macklemore. You didn't have to mention Kendrick either. Bro, dang.
Robbed everyone. We all need text messages. Once again, Drake's transparent desire to be viewed in the same breath as K-Dot in terms of being a vitally important artist to the culture has been exposed. Because try as he might, he simply couldn't produce something that spoke so resoundingly to the culture as K-Dot had. Because after attempting to craft a genre-defining masterpiece and not getting the plaudits he felt he deserved, Drizzy decided that he couldn't accomplish that feat on his terms. Since Nothing Was the Same and onwards, Drake's status as hip-hop's ultimate chart topper has become an integral part of his branding. From the days where he suggested that he should probably sign to Hit Boy because I got all the hits boy, through to declaring that if I touch the studio, then we got one.
That was so trash. I wonder how I should sign a Hit Boy because I got all the hits, boy.
Scorpions can't take a joke. All signs suggest that by now, Drake keeps his mind fixated on the anthems that can be supported by cold, hard sales, rather than creating a classic album with no skips. As a result, Drake and Kendrick's paths permanently diverged. By hopping on everything from TikTok dances to pandering to younger fans with features, Drake wound up doing everything that K-Dot had forewarned back in that 2014 interview with DJ Whokid. Meanwhile, Kendrick kept himself focused on creating comprehensive bodies of work, delivering an even more emphatic statement on To Pimp a Butterfly, choosing to evade the safe option to turn.
That is probably the greatest hip-hop album ever made. Pimp a Butterfly probably is the greatest hip-hop album ever made. I seen a list where it said greatest albums ever made in history. And To Pimp a Butterfly was number 6. I'm talking about all albums in history, all genres. In the history of music, they had To Pimp a Butterfly at number 6. I believe that was the highest. I believe it was only 2 rap albums in the top 10. I believe it was 9 was Illmatic and 6 was what's the name? But yeah, I stand on that. Anybody could argue with me on that. I will argue with you to the day I die. To Pimp a Butterfly is the greatest rap album ever created. Ever. And I listen to all of them. Trust and believe. But that album is 100% perfect. There's nothing wrong with that album to me. 100% perfect from top to bottom. It's so compelling. It's so good. It's in everything. The music, from the saxophones to Soundwave to Thundercat to the Isley Brothers to Kendrick to Snoop and all of them on that joint. It just doesn't sound like a West Coast album. That just doesn't sound like a hip hop album. That sounds like a musical. Like this, it was so well put together. It's phenomenal. I'm talking like unbelievably good. It's the greatest rap album ever to me.
Around another album which was sonically familiar, Dot took a risk and produced a musical journey through the music of Black America, from jazz to soul and beyond. After a project like Nothing Was the Same never received the adoration that he'd hoped for, Drake would never take this kind of risk again. However, Lamar has continued to look at the game differently, trusting his fans to put in the hours to comprehend what's happening.
It's not really a concept that I would want you to grasp in one day. I wanted to live forever. To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the moments where 20 years from now, it'll probably be a little bit more prevalent in your life than it is today.
But that's not where the story stops, because moving along to the next stage of their careers, Kendrick and Drake would actually find themselves involved in another battle, and this time it was in Drake's home territory, the Billboard charts. Widely regarded to be one of his best works, Drake's If You're Reading This Is Too Late was a mixtape that embraced his raw persona.
I don't even know why that was even a mixtape. To me, that's his best album. That's his big. I think that's 1 through 6 from my woes. That's Energy. Was it? I think it's Energy on there. Yeah. That's, to me, that's his best album. I like that album a lot.
Including his flaws, and resulted in something that felt honest. Effectively, although he hadn't created a classic, he proved that he was on the right path.
I actually like a bulk of this album. Even if this record doesn't go down as one of Drake's biggest projects historically, I think it is my favorite commercial project that he's dropped so far. I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this. No way! Yeah, I know.
But once again, he'd pivot back to making music for the charts with his More Life project. And at that point, K-Dot came to rain on his parade and even left him beaten in terms of album sales with the release of Damn. Despite billing the project as a playlist, it still very much counts as a part of his discography and featured some big singles. So, for a man that was fixated on numbers to take an L in this arena must have stung. Aware of how petty he looked in the past, Drake played the role of the gracious loser, writing on IG that it was amazing to see our music moving forward, while also hyping the prospect of a potential collab track between himself, Cole, and Kendrick. But, as expected at this point, K-Dot wasn't interested in rekindling any friendship. Instead, he kept throwing jabs at Drake's inadequacies. It gets tricky because you can have that one big record, but you can still have that integrity at the same time, he told Rolling Stone after the release of Damn. Not many can do that.
That's a hard bar right there. Damn. Hard bar. Let's go.
Wink, wink. Still have their raps going crazy on an album and have a #1 record. Wink, wink. He'd even respond to the kudos directly on the track All the Stars from the Black Panther soundtrack. And while I didn't necessarily register at the time, The context that we have now makes it pretty obvious who Dot was aiming at with this verse. Despite Kendrick's best efforts, it seemed like Drake was never really ready to fully shut the door on a relationship between them, because as a new era approached in 2019, Drizzy publicly expressed his admiration for Kendrick one last time.
I have a lot of respect for the other two guys that I'm up against, which is like Cole and Kendrick. I'm excited that the decade's about to turn and we're gonna see who can go that extra stretch. I think for all three of us, it is the time to see who can transcend the generations, much like Jay did. It's time to see, are we capable of another 5-year run?
But now, that respect is likely eroded completely. Left without the classic he craved but a whole host of plaques, Drake has accomplished many, many things in the rap game. But if Drizzy ever hoped to obtain acceptance, then Kendrick is just at that process a long, long way back. So what do you think? Did Kendrick force Drake into giving up on creating a classic album, or are we reaching here? Also, side note, consider this. Drake was the one who reached out to Kendrick to go on tour with him, gifted him problems, and also reached out to collaborate with Cole on First Person Shooter. So maybe Kendrick is the bad guy in all of this. But we'll save that for another discussion. Thank you for staying with us. I'm your host, Spencer Zachary, and in addition to doing voiceovers for Hip Hop Madness, I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and multi-instrumentalist, and I just released my first album called Open Water. It's on all streaming platforms, so please go listen to it. Check me out on Instagram @_Spencer Zachary and on YouTube as well. And that's all. Catch you guys in the next video.
Yeah, man, make sure y'all go follow that dude. That was a great video. Excellent, man. He put that together real nice. You got another video that I'm going to react to. So y'all gonna be seeing that come through too. So look, I don't agree with him at the end. Well, he didn't really say anything I disagree with it, but at the end he did say that, you know, Drake did this, Drake did that, Drake did this. I get it. I mean, but at the same time, I can't really say that Drake gifted him anything. This is the thing, like most of Kendrick's songs are not with Drake. His top songs are not with Drake. One, I believe that's the joint. Well, they only got 2 songs together. So the one of his top songs is Poetic Justice, but outside of that, Kendrick got number ones. He got songs that sold. So, but I guess that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is Drake is quitting or giving up. I do believe that Kendrick, off of his 5 albums, no matter what Drake throws at it, he can't beat either one of them albums. It doesn't matter what album that Drake throws at. He can throw his best album at Kendrick's worst album and Kendrick still wins. Some people say Kendrick's worst album is Damn. Some people say Damn is his greatest album. Some people say his worst album is To Pimp a Butterfly, which I don't understand. And some people say it's not. But the consensus is that Good Kid, Mad City is the best album. But I think that most people say that Good Kid, Mad City is the best album is because that's his first official studio album. So most people will say that that's the best album. You know how it is. The best Lord of the Rings was the first Lord of the Rings, or the best Terminator was the second. Well, people say the second Terminator was the best. So it does happen sometimes. Star Wars, you know, all these. So people always used to saying that, oh, this first shit, Illmatic was better than it was written. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So I think that when it comes to Kendrick and Drake, I do believe that Kendrick reigns on his parade because Drake released a lot of material. You know what I'm saying? And most of his material is forgettable or not good. So he's one of those people that he's a person who chose quantity over quality, and Kendrick chose quality over quantity. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it goes. There's different ways to skin a cat. Drake will be around for a long time, but the substance wise, he will always be below Kendrick. Hit wise, he'll be above Kendrick. That's how it goes when it comes to him overall hits. Drake has more hits than anybody, but substance wise, when it's all boiled down to it, because hits forgettable, substance is forever. Just want y'all to understand that. All right, man, I'm out of here. See y'all. Peace. Bye. Y'all have a good night, man.